What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Madden Underground podcast. It's your boy, Brian James, with my guy, Snipes, Philly guy, and the return of B-Guard. What's good, fellas?
What's going on? What's going on?
Oh,
I'm doing great, guys. I'm feeling awesome.
what about you, B-Guard? You back, man? What's good?
It's good to be back. I've been watching y'all, and it's time to bring some truth and some logic back to this podcast. I've been watching y'all, and I've just been pulling my hair out when I hear you guys talk about some topics.
Oh my golly goodness. What could you mean by that, sir?
Speaking of topics, we're gonna start off with the Commanders.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They have done everything.
What they do?
They have done everything from peeking the cheerleaders' locker room to cook the books. so
Wow.
now they've been caught. They've been caught by. They've been caught. You know what I'm saying? Cooking the books. If you guys had found out that I was using Madden Underground as a Ponzi scheme, and all this stuff was just a front for the real magic behind this green screen, I'm sure you guys would be disappointed and upset, or a little perturbed. You know what I mean? But Snyder needs to give up the team. At this point, I think he needs the Clippers. You know, he hasn't gone as far as the Clipper guy, but
How do you know that, though?
we don't know. We don't know.
That's the whole point. We
don't-
have no clue,
we
man.
don't know.
No clue.
Gruden got caught up because of Snyder. So I'm like, yo, we honestly, we really don't know. You know, so like with that being said, how do you guys feel about the Commanders? Do they need new ownership? What you guys think about what's going on over there and watch this?
I'm just gonna keep it simple because I don't even want to go into this too much here. You took the words right out of my mouth, B, for real. Like, bottom line, Snyder has to give the team up. It's ridiculous all the things that these guys are doing, and he still owns the team. It's utterly ridiculous. I think at this point, the NFL needs to step in and say, all right, look, we got plenty of people out there that will love to be an NFL owner. You know what I mean? This is the perfect time, you know what I mean, to possibly get yourself a minority owner in there. You know what I mean? This is a perfect time for something like that. In my opinion, like at this point, that's what has to happen, man. This is just, I could, when I saw that yesterday, I'm just like, what haven't these guys done yet? What haven't these guys done? This is ridiculous. Like, why does he still own the team? This makes no sense. Like, he's got to give him up. He's got to give him up. I'm done. He's got to give him up, man. Period. I'm done.
I'll tell you why he still owns the team at this moment. It's because he knows all the other dirty secrets the other owners have got. You're not going to throw out your work like the person who knows all the skeletons in your closet because that's just ammunition for him. Say, hey, if you do this, okay, everybody's going to know about this. Now, having said that, this is probably the worst owner in sports history. Like, I know there's a couple off the cuff. Marge Schott with the Reds. You have Jim Dolan as the Knicks. Philly guy could probably elaborate on that a little more. But he's gone from doing some stuff that's offensive to now illegal. When Congress is coming at you with all these findings that you aren't paying other teams for these away games, which if you guys don't know the NFL rules, teams have to give up 40% of ticket sales to the visiting team. And yeah, I feel like Jerry Jones don't really need to hide that though. Yeah. But look,
Yep.
He's got some controversies this year too. But with Dan Snyder, it's one thing after another, and you could go just this season. Like you got, and he always does something to try and cover up that controversy. Like earlier in the year when the emails came out, what happened after the emails come out? They announced they're going to retire Sean Taylor's jersey. And if you guys saw that, like that was probably the most offensive thing I think he's ever done. Is it looked like they just put it together like 3 days before the game, where they had his family standing next to porta potties. You had Jackson Mahomes just dancing on the number 21. Like, it was a total mess, and it was a total cover up for the email scandal. Like Wes, I totally agree. Like, he needs to have his team taken away. He needs to be. What was that Clippers owner's name? What was
Donald
that
Sterling?
He needs to be Donald Sterling.
Yeah.
And it's not like they haven't had this president before. Like, the Carolina Panthers owner had this toxic workplace thing, and before anybody could really sniff around, he just up and sold the team. So I think if Snyder kind of wants to save what little face he has left, sell the team.
Yeah. Yeah. For real.
Great show.
Yep.
Well, we saw that. We saw that like a couple years ago with the Dodgers and the Frank McCourt, where he was bankrupt and he was running the team, and that team got sold in bankruptcy court.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the whole time I was talking, nobody could hear me. So.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Well, thanks, JB.
Repeat yourself, B.
thank you, JB. Appreciate you, bro. That's my guy. But yeah, everybody's in the chat like just shaking their head, like, yeah, we can't hear you, but we're not gonna tell them. But yeah, but no, what I was saying was good thing because I called Jerry Jones some mean things. I don't think you guys heard that. But what I was saying was
some people showing up at your door.
Basically, the Lakers show, the TV show that the Lakers have on HBO Max, is a great documentary. I mean, I don't know if it's a documentary or biopic, what to call it, but it gives you the logic and how things go. For an owner.
Some of it's a little dramatized, though. Some of it's a little dramatized.
Some of it is, but a lot of it.
Yes,
a lot of it's from the. A lot of it's from the book. A lot of it's from the Ron Perlman book.
The Ron Perlman book.
Okay, because I was like, yo, they had a lot of scandals going on in LA. Like,
yeah, there was a ton of. I'm a Laker fan. There was a ton of scandal. There was a ton of scandal. I'm sure of it. You know what I mean?
But I want to get Philly's perspective on it, man. What do you think should be done in regards to the ownership of the Commanders and things like that?
Well, I agree with B. Gardner Snipes. All right, where there's smoke, there's fire. I think we all know that. JB's right. Jerry Jones, would probably be on the hot seat if it was necessary. But I think where Snyder messed up is he started playing with other people's money. As an owner, if you're not paying me my money, then we got a problem. So to me, that's what this is. If he would have paid them their money, we wouldn't be having this conversation. All the emails and everything else like that, they're like, look, we're going to look out for you because we don't want that action, that heat coming our way. But when he decided not to give them their money, well, things are going to get out. And they're going to make sure that they get their money. They're going to make sure they get somebody in there that understands what they're supposed to do and how it's supposed to be done. And, you watch my back, I'll watch yours. But, yeah, that's where he slipped up. He got too greedy, and he didn't pay them their money, so he's going to pay the price. So they're going to make sure that something happens.
I agree. I totally agree with that. I think, when you messing with, everybody's, all of the season ticket holders. I mean, can you imagine now? Like, you just changed the name to the Commanders now, and this, that, and the third. Now you got this whole scandal going on. And what if every single person out there said, you know what? We ain't coming to not one damn game. You just messed up a lot, because if you're doing people like that, who's to say that the whole community, down there in DC doesn't say, you know what? I ain't going to a game this year. Then what happens to your organization at that point? That's why he's got, at this point, I think, to save, just like B-Gar was saying, I would go a little further and say, just to save the team, per se, just to save the team, he needs to give it up. He's got to save the team and save them money this year, because I guarantee you there's cats that's just going to be like, yo, I'm not even going to a game this year. For what? What's the point?
Sumster said it could have been worse. He said he could have offered everyone a medium soda.
Which is true.
Yeah.
Hey, at least the Giants are paying the other team's away game money.
Yeah,
like, they ain't cooking no books.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like the way things have been panning out for the NFL lately, from an owner's perspective, hasn't been looking good.
Nah.
If you didn't know before that the NFL had a lot of corruption in it, we all know that it does now.
Yes.
Now my question is, as if they are forced to sell the team or whatever, and I'm a new owner, do you want to take over a team called the Commanders that doesn't have the G.I. Joe Cobra logo on it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I take him over.
You take him over?
Yeah. That's a $3-4 billion franchise. I'd love to take that over.
Yeah, that's a heavy franchise, man. Yeah, I would definitely take him over.
What up, Lorenzo?
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, I'm just tripping off of that, man. Oh, that's what's his name? Steelers. I can't think of your name on the Tiger. What's up, Tiger? Hope you make it back next year, man. I hope you're doing better too, man. Saying you were sick, so I hope you're doing good, man. Wish you the best with your health, bro. But yeah, I definitely would be hesitant about taking over a team called the Commanders. Although I guess they're over $1 billion company or whatever. But
yeah, if you're an owner, I get what you're saying.
Do you change the name? Do you change the name?
Nah. I don't change it right now at all. You don't want to go back. You don't want to go back to football team now. Like, you know what I mean? You already changed the Commanders. You got to just leave it. You got to leave it as is right now. You know what I mean? If there's a new ownership or what have you, and money's already been dropped to the name too.
Yeah,
I mean, money, merchandise.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Everything. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't change it right now. All you're gonna do is make people that went and bought that merchandise even more upset.
Yeah. What about the Bobcats? Remember the Bobcats? We had the Charlotte Bobcats.
Charlotte Bobcats.
That team lasted how many years? What, 3 years?
Yep.
That lasted like a decade.
It did?
Was it a decade? The Bobcats, really?
Yeah, that lasted
they were like grand opening, grand closing.
Yeah,
Whenever the Pelicans changed the name, Hornets changed the name to the Pelicans, and they gave the Hornets back. No, they were around for about 10 years. They were around for a decade.
Yeah, check that. But I disagree with you, Snipes. I'm changing the name. They can do that commander. They can do that commander gig for 1 year, and I'm reaching out to everybody. I'm like, look, we starting everything new. We starting it fresh. I want the fans' input. We're gonna vote on these names, and that's what this team is gonna be called. And we're gonna have some competitions for uniforms. We're gonna have multiple dope-ass uniforms. Like you got to cut all ties with Snyder. You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree.
That's
totally
where I'm
agree.
at.
You gotta get the stink of Snyder off your team.
Stinks
like
bad.
when the Clippers got taken over by Ballmer, I thought, okay, they got to change the name because you got to get the Sterling stink off of it.
Yeah, but I guess that's true. But
he was actually right. It was from 2002 to 2013-14 season.
So like a decade, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because Charlotte got an expansion franchise back.
Yeah.
When the Hornets moved to
the Hornets moved, right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. That makes sense. They said
Rebranding is everything.
What do you guys think about the Commodores? Says Sumster Manny in the chat.
The Commodores.
Lionel Richie has the logo. That's what he said. That's a suggestion. Maybe Washington has that suggestion box open. I would definitely submit that one. But yeah, in other news, speaking of Washington, this past weekend we lost Dwayne Haskins, man. Great Ohio State quarterback, first round pick, came into the league, starter, had a few good seasons, and he lost his life in a car accident trying to cross the freeway or on the freeway. He got hit by a car or a truck or something like that, which is definitely unfortunate, man, because he was a. I watched the little documentary Ohio State put out on him, and it made me sad, man. It made me real sad, bro, because it showed him as a kid, and he was in the locker room saying this is where he wanted to play at, and he actually got there and was able to, accomplish some of his dreams, and it was like, yo, this dude was young. This was a young man, bro.
Yeah.
And he lost his life. And I saw a lot of reporters being like totally disrespectful in regards to his loss of life, man. And
we'll get into him.
Yeah, because Adam Schefter, bro.
Gil Brandt.
Yeah, it was. I don't even know. It was first off, it was distasteful to begin with, the way they tried to make him just a football player. Like, this was a human being at the end of the day who had a family.
Exactly.
And it was like you were trying to base his life off of what he accomplished on the field. And it was like, that's just football is something they do. It's not who they are. You know what I mean? So it definitely had me upset and kind of enraged. I saw a lot of NFL players upset and enraged by some of the comments that the media was putting out there and things like that. But it's at the end of the day, you could be great, you could be a prominent star, and at the end of the day, you're still gonna be viewed as less than a man if you're not pushing some type of agenda or in the media's eye, So I just thought that was totally disrespectful on a man who had a great college career. He only played 1 year, and he did so much with 1 year of starting, He beat out Joe Burrow. And we saw how great Joe Burrow was. He beat out Joe Burrow for the starting position, although Joe Burrow did get hurt in the midst of the competition. But we saw how good that quarterback room was, just based on the quarterbacks that they had before him and while he was there. And he was able to maintain and hold his own there, and put himself in position to be a first-round pick. And also be a starter in the NFL. And it's people can say what they want, and it's hard as hell to get to the NFL, and be a quarterback in the NFL. It's something that it's not something that anybody could do or anything like that. But I just, like I said, my heart was hurt watching that video of him as a kid, him saying, I want to go to Ohio State. I want to play here when I get older. And then he did it, and it was like, yo, that's wild, 'cause I had never seen that clip of him before as a kid, But and then to see the way that the media was trying to belittle him and talk down on him because of whatever transpired of him playing in the system he was unfamiliar with, and I think that's been the case of a lot of players. You get drafted. Just because you get drafted doesn't mean that you're going to be successful on a team if you don't fit the system that you're playing in. He went to Pittsburgh, and he looked way better in Pittsburgh than he did in Washington.
Yeah.
So
sure did.
I wonder why that was.
The coaching,
the organization,
too.
Exactly.
So you think okay, is this you go into a bad environment, you criticize this man for not being interested, and you don't even know what he was witnessing that he couldn't speak on while he was with the organization.
Yep.
And you try to base his entire life on what you saw him do with the particular organization. When this man went to the Rose Bowl, was the offensive player of the game in the Rose Bowl, and do all these other things, and then he was giving back to the community. He was he was a husband, and all types of things. Like, this man was doing everything right off the field, and it was like he still was in death. He was still demonized for some reason, like because of football career. Like, that had nothing to do with anything. If God forbid something happened to Jamarcus Russell, if something happened to him off the field, Ryan Leaf, anything. But I don't know. Ryan Leaf has some off the field issues, but I mean, like, as far as like just off the field issues, some of these guys have clean slates, and the media demonized them because of whatever they thought they were on the field. And I seen a lot of different people do it, but Adam Schefter was the most him and what's the other guy's name? Bigard?
Gil Brandt. Gil Brandt, I feel, was worse.
Yeah, worse. I thought that was they had some real distasteful things to say. I'm not gonna go into what they were saying, but it was just the fact that let that man live and let him be honored in greatness, because he accomplished more than most will ever do in life. Anything you guys want to say about it?
I'll let B-Guard. You gotta go first on this one.
Yeah, like I kind of do want to get into what Gil Brandt said. Like, Schefter,
I want to hear it too, because I didn't even know. I knew Gil Brandt said something, but I wasn't sure what he said.
So Gil Brandt went on a radio show. He was talking about Dwayne Haskins, and something that he said to the extent of, if he'd have stayed if he would have stayed in college because he wasn't ready to go to the NFL, he'd still be alive. And they described him as someone who was living to die. And
that's what I
hurts.
saw. Okay.
What really got me was like this man didn't die of a drug overdose or playing with guns or something like that. This dude got hit by a dump truck. Like it's a truly like a tragic accidental event. Like I just don't understand like why people were so ready to pounce on him because he didn't have the most illustrious NFL career at to that point. And it's just it really struck a nerve with me, especially with Schefter, who's had a history of doing this, like posting some tweets about certain individuals like Haskins and like Deshaun Watson as of late, and he tweets like a robot. Like that's basically what he's in this robotic thing. Like, yeah, like these people have families. These people have people that look up to them, and when they see that tweet and they hear that interview, like you're putting this image of them that's not fair to the person, because they are people first before they are football players or entertainers. And what that puts out is you look at them as nothing but somebody in a jersey, and that to me is just the worst part about it, because he was 24, and it made me look at my own mortality. Because whenever I see somebody who's younger than me, I'm 29 years old. Like, when someone younger than me dies, it really hits me like, damn.
Yeah.
That's all I really got to say about that.
Well, I'll say real quick, you broke down what Gilbrandt said, and I did hear somebody say something in regard, on the, kind of like the same page that you just said. But I didn't really pay much attention to that. The Adam Schefter thing, I paid a little bit more attention to, which both of them completely distasteful. You know what I mean? And I mean, to be honest with you, if you want to talk about, people, going on leave or punishment or whatever, I think those cats should be on some type of punishment for even saying the things that they say about somebody that's no longer here. It's not like he wanted to go out there and get hit by a dump truck. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy that is a young 24-year-old man that, everybody just loved and adored. You know what I mean? Especially, in the locker room. You know what I mean? Regardless if he was a starter or not. And listen, believe it or not, he had an opportunity to do something there in Pittsburgh.
Definitely.
Big Ben ain't there no more. He had an opportunity to possibly do something there in Pittsburgh. I think that's what hit me the most. Was like, yo, this man now has a shot. He has a legit shot now on taking control of an organization that is a winning organization. That he's rocking with a coach that hasn't had a losing season his entire career. You know what I'm saying? And he has a shot now. You know what I mean? And for him to unfortunately lose his life, you know what I'm saying? In this regard, it's extremely sad. You know what I'm saying? It's extremely sad. But I will say this, you know what I mean? And I'll keep it a buck with you guys. That I wanted him before Daniel Jones. That's for dang sure. I wanted him before Daniel Jones. You know what I mean? I was up when Daniel Jones got picked. I was like, what? Like, Dwayne Haskins is sitting right there. You see what he did at Ohio State? Give that man a shot. You know what I'm saying? He needs a shot. Give him a shot. You want a QB here? Fine. Give him a shot. I didn't want Daniel Jones. You know what I'm saying? And again, and he had a chip on his shoulder after the Giants didn't pick him. He went and dined with this team. He did all type of things with the team, and then the Giants didn't pick him. And it was, you know what I mean? For me, it was blasphemy. Like, really? Like, you really took Daniel Jones over this guy? This guy is, it was a year in college, but that year, he was insane. You know what I mean? That year, he was insane, and you couldn't give this guy a shot? Like, really? But you're going to give Daniel Jones a shot, though. You know what I mean? But, nonetheless, man, listen, at the end of the day, rest in peace to that kid, man. Again, just he's so young, man. He had his whole life ahead of him. And it's a shame, what I'm saying, that this has happened. But, obviously, you heard the saying before, here today, gone tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You just never know when your time is your time. You know what I mean? And, the Lord called him home, and, you know what I mean? I understand it. You know what I mean? I understand it completely, but in the same token, I don't understand it because he's so young. You know what I mean? He was so young and he had so much ahead of him. And again, the biggest thing that hits me is that the year that Ben retires, this man has a shot at being at the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's just crazy that just like that, drop of a dime, gone.
What about you, Philly?
I agree with what Snipes and Bigard said, but I think it hits a little different. I'm not ashamed to say that Dwayne, he was young enough to be my son. So, there's the humane aspect of it. Because all the information that came out on social media that was negative, all of that is tasteless. And when you have people who don't understand how tasteless it is, I'm glad that same platform is available for people to respond and show, hey, this is a young man that we're talking about. This is a young, successful man that we're talking about. And be able to talk about all the things that he means to all the people out there and all the lives that he's touched. Nobody deserves to die, especially in that manner. And I think that what Schefter and Brand said, they're not a reflection of the majority of this country. They're not a reflection of compassionate human beings. For whatever reason that they put that information out there, like I said, it's tasteless. But it shouldn't even be the focus of what this young man was able to accomplish. Like you said, it's just really hard to think about what's happened this year. Think about him, think about Ruggs, and just think about situations where, young men were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and things didn't work out for them. And, that's the tragedy of it, because like you said how hard it is to get to that level. You said how hard it is to be able to have those types of accomplishments on the types of stages, that they played in. And for anybody that's ever had something that they've considered themselves to be good at, or to be great at, and to be at the pinnacle of that mountaintop, and maybe you're a champion, or maybe you competed in a championship. Just the fact that you're there, just the fact that you're in the conversation, just the fact that you have a seat at the table, it just says volumes about the potential that you have to do something that you love and something that you're good at. So, there is no way to minimize what he's accomplished. And there's no way to minimize him as a human being, regardless of the garbage that was put out. So I'm a fan of Ohio State. And, I agree with you, Snipes. Certain players don't go where you would like for them to go. But, it would have been very nice to see him have an opportunity at taking over for the Steelers, especially because we've been talking about some of the free agents that we thought that they could sign, and we felt like they were in an excellent position, to return to the playoffs and maybe have some success. So just as a sports fan, as a football fan, I always want to see the best players on the field. I always want to see the best players play. I don't like injuries. I don't like the what if scenarios. And when everybody's healthy and everybody can go at it and put their best on the field, to me, that's what we win as a fan. Those are the memories that we have when we get to see, two giants going head to head, two titans going head to head, just the best of the best. And so, you know, I'm gonna have to think a little bit more on the personal level. You know, what it means to lose a young man that, like I said, you know, was old enough to be my son, because those aren't the types of thoughts that you want to think about as a father. You don't want to think about, you know, your kids losing their life in some random ass accident. And you know, and that's not the type of thing that you want to have. But for me, you know, again, because of his age, not because of what he accomplished on the football field, that's where my head is right now. I'm just thinking about how young this young man was, and just how it relates to my own personal family and experiences.
All right.
Definitely, man. Like I said, it was definitely heartbreaking for me to see that, because my son is just a couple years younger than him. I'm not as old as Philly, but yeah, you know. So, but yeah, it was heartbreaking to see that, especially like I said, watching that little documentary that Ohio State put out and showing him as a kid. It just reminded me of my son, and was like, yo, I would be pissed off if the media was trying to belittle my son in that type of way.
Man.
So
Man.
it, like if I was Dwayne Haskins, anybody in his family, Schefter would get the hands. That's just me.
Oh, bro, man,
Schefter,
look.
We running the Schefter anywhere. He comes to anywhere close to the funeral or anything to report. He's getting hands, like hands and feet. So
no, I mean at this particular point, I don't want none of that media. I don't want ESPN. I don't want nobody near that funeral. Nobody. You got no right to be here as much as y'all. But even the people that haven't been talking, unfortunately, because it's their, it's their profession. You know what I mean? That you're dealing with. I just wouldn't want them there. I just want my fam here, and that's it. Other than that, everybody else can kick rocks.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly. Well, and we got to transition from this topic, although it is extremely tragic. We got the earliest Madden 23 news that we're gonna get, or first Madden 23 news, and a lot of people were excited about it. Some people were disappointed about it. I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about it. We had to wait a week to talk about it, but we finally got the opportunity to get together and talk about it. We were last week. We were talking about skill gap and Madden implementing some form of skill gap in the game, or if MLB The Show had a larger skill gap than Madden, and we all agreed that Madden had the larger skill gap.
You're wrong.
I don't know. I think.
But real quick, have you guys ever played MLB The Show on the most difficult level?
That's the only level I played on.
Yeah.
On Legend?
Yes.
Yeah, I play it on Legend all the time.
Hey man, kudos to you then. Kudos to y'all.
B-Guard, do you wear glasses? Enough said.
Sometimes.
Okay, enough said. Put those on when you play, and then you'll feel a little bit differently.
Maybe this will help me out in my Madden game when I'm throwing at people that aren't in my jersey. So
yeah. Because
maybe that was my problem this year. My problem this year.
I gave B-Guard a shellacking earlier today. If you guys didn't get to see the
No. Let's get this straight. You didn't do nothing. Derrick Henry gave me a shellacking.
You know what? This is the first year I've ever been able to say B-Guard has never beaten me in Madden. He's never beaten me. He didn't beat me at all this year.
Tells you all you need to know about Madden 22.
He didn't beat me not once this year. You know what I mean? Not once. He doesn't even know what it's like to beat me in Madden 22. So, with that being said, I have the bragging rights. Nobody in this stream has ever beaten me when it counts or when it matters in a sanction or league game. Philly guy, you didn't either. Snipes definitely didn't.
You ain't have to add the definitely to that. You ain't have to do that, man. You have to do that to me like that.
So as when it comes to expertise in the game of Madden, I seem to be the more polished player of the four. You know what I mean?
I am making it my life mission to make sure you don't get Derrick Henry. I am dedicating my life
Bigard, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter because we were getting ready to talk about Madden 23. He's still talking about Madden 22. I don't know about you.
I'm not
Madden
taking no
22 has been
chances, Philly.
over.
I'm
He's
taking
not
no
taking no
chances.
chances.
No, you can see you got to move forward to the future. Now, look, I'll be honest. Okay, when I saw the information come out, I'm watching the YouTube and I'm like, this sure sounds a lot like the Vision Cone from back in the day. I don't know, because there's some other things that need to be addressed. And then there were comparisons made to MLB The Show, and in all fairness, when you're talking about pitching and the accuracy and making sure that you can place the ball where you want it to. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? It doesn't sound like the Vision Cone. It sounds a little bit more like MLB The Show. And a lot of people seem to have been enjoying that. Me, not so much. Just because, I like to play baseball. I don't like to play baseball video games. So, I'm like, okay, whatever, but let's give it a shot. I like the possibility of what it can represent, but I don't want to get too excited. I don't want to get too excited. I want to get too low. The beta's going to be coming out, maybe in about a month or so. So maybe we'll get a chance to see it firsthand. And to me, is it going to matter that much if the zones are broken? I don't know. Because if somebody can make my defense dummy out, do they even really need it? I don't think so. So does this mean that maybe the zones and the man coverage are going to play to the level where we actually need to use this? I hope so. Because if that's the case, then I'll be all for it.
Okay. What about you? Well, in regards to the show, when you're pitching and you're getting your ball placement right on the show, there is nobody blitzing you. There is nobody coming off the edge. There's nobody shooting through an A and B gap. It's a totally different scenario. So I'm eager to see how that pans out with the pressure, how you're going to be able to do both velocity or directional or however you want to do it. I'm eager to see how that's going to pan out on the sticks. But that was one thing that captured my eye. I know a lot of people hated the Vision Cone year. I didn't even play that year because that was the year I was going to school. But yeah, I didn't. Well, I actually had the game, but I just didn't play it as much as I normally play it. But it was just that I didn't like that. If you didn't have the best quarterback on the game, you were basically pointing with a little flashlight, trying to get it to a guy, and that pretty much sucked. So if it's anywhere like that, then that might be an issue. But it does add a skill gap, and that's what people have been complaining about, is that there's no skill gap. Anybody can pick up anybody and play. And I don't think this even matters for MUT, because if it is like the Vision Cone, everybody's playing with the best MUT cards anyway. So if you got a 99 overall quarterback, whatever vision or whatever that vision is like, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a big bright light pointing at whatever. If it's like the Vision Cone, because it's like Peyton Manning, he can see the whole field. Who else was it? Brett Favre could see the whole field back in the game.
Brady, yeah.
Brady could see the whole field back then. So it was like if you got an elite quarterback, I don't think that's gonna really mess with you. So this doesn't even really apply to even MUT dudes. Maybe in the sense of the velocity of the ball, if they have the velocity meter on there. But if they still have abilities like Gunslinger, does that really even matter? You know what I mean?
Yeah, if that's the thing, what's the point?
Yeah,
if they're gonna have these abilities, what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point?
Take Gunslinger off. If you take Gunslinger off,
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like if they have these things, then maybe there's no gunslinger for the quarterbacks.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Cry. I want to see him cry. I want to hear him cry. I want to hear the tears, the begging.
I have look over the last couple months, I haven't had a lot of positive things to say about Madden.
Do tell.
So,
look
at my Twitter. Look at my Twitter.
We did know.
So if they can pull off this, I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot. Like, it sounds different. It sounds new outside of the Vision Cone stuff. Like, I don't even think I was like playing Madden at that point. But I have a lot of skepticism on whether or not they can pull it off. Like, they're gonna have to show me. Like, I'm not gonna get excited over an article that was posted.
What if I'm playing with Nathan
I've
Peterman?
done that before. And I've been burnt by it. So you're gonna have to show me to get me to get excited.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, just like you guys was just saying, it's something different, and that's what I think everybody has been, just clamoring about. They want something different. Okay, here it is. You know what I mean? So now it's something different. You're gonna have to get used to for the guys that are younger and has never played Madden with that cone. And if this is somewhat like that, you know what I mean? You're in for a treat. That's for sure. You're in for a treat. And I don't know if you're going to like that treat or not, but it's definitely different. And the bottom line is that's what a lot of people are clamoring about. They want something different. EA's came out and they're and done, something a little bit different here. Game might look the same, but they've done something a little bit different here. So, at this point, all you could do is give EA the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? And kind of just, just wait till the game comes out. Because again, I think I said it, I say it every time in the podcast. We're not going to sit here on this panel right now and say we ain't buying the game this year. That's a bunch of bull. We all buying the game, regardless.
Definitely
We're buying the game. Yeah. Regardless on if we play it once or never, we're buying the game. The game is bought. You know what I'm saying? I mean, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, they take my money. It's like already EA, take my money. You won already. You got my money. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna buy the game regardless. But again, it's just something new that everybody's gonna have to get used to. Just like everybody had to get used to next gen. You know what I mean? And how next gen moved. And now everybody got used to it. You know what I mean? Everybody's throwing crosses all over the place and everything else because that's what they do. That's the way of the world right now.
Well, I mean, they did say that you can turn it off, and let's be real.
Yep.
You can turn abilities off too.
Yeah.
So a lot of the complaints, I think they're unfair only from the standpoint of the question that Brian James asked is the only question that I think that needs to be asked. Can you use this feature when the heat is on your ass? Can you? Are you going to have time?
That's the question I have too.
Do that.
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, then this is a feature that you shouldn't have led with this feature. This should not have been your first feature, or you should have been a lot more specific saying who and what this feature is for. Because when you put it out there and you generalize it, the first thing that's going to happen.
He said Vision Code made me a better runner.
You are going to be completely disassembled. And you have to be ready. You had to know that was going to come. You had to know that the hardcore gamers are going to say, what is this trash? What is this trash? Because
you
like
guys
you said, that's the first thing you came up with, B. James. Was there an answer to that?
No.
To the information that was released? No.
You guys remember Madden 18 where they came out? I think it was 18. Where they came out with target passing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how nobody could use it because, like Philly said, if they're on your ass, you're not getting you don't have enough time.
To use it. Yeah.
Like you don't have time. So that's another concern that I'm glad Philly brought up. Like, are you gonna have time to even implement this stuff?
That's and the thing about ultimately it comes down to the people that you have testing the game. And like I said, they normally have a lot of sim guys playing the game. And the thing about sim guys is they don't apply pressure. They're gonna have 3 guys, make sure they have their 3 guys rushing. They're gonna have a few guys in coverage. It's gonna be real vanilla. They're gonna call the play the way it's supposed to, let it play the way it's supposed to design. The way it's designed. They're not gonna have anybody standing over the center, the lineman, or anything like that. It's gonna be real basic and vanilla. So that's the thing that you have to factor in. Who do you have testing the game? Who do you have testing these features? Because like I said, last year they had a lot of sim leagues testing franchise mode, and they were so happy to be part of whatever they were a part of. And they
part of the group. And
they fanned out when it was time to dig in. They fanned out, and they didn't know. They didn't think. Okay, well, we can't get 32 guys in the league unless we have owner mode. We're playing under owner mode. Or if we do have a coach mode and somebody leaves the league, we can't have 32 guys in the league anymore. It was these are the simple things that they didn't think about or address. The issue where the game was crashing. If you use the updated the what you call it, the updated playbooks,
Live playbooks.
live playbooks,
The live playbooks,
the
yeah.
live playbooks. They're not even thinking about the live playbook. They're just picking the regular play or using a custom or whatever, whatever floats their boat.
Yep.
But it's just that you got to have guys that play in various ways. You can't have the game being played in one particular way. You have to have guys that are actually trying to break the game so that you know if these things are even worth even putting or implementing into the game. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
And argue with that. And you just can't, because everything that you talked about, if I'm in a league by myself and I'm playing against the computer and I'm trying to build up my team and my franchise, the computer isn't going to pick certain players in the draft. We know that, right? The computer's going to play a certain way. The computer's not going to make any of those adjustments. So when I call these plays, half the plays that don't actually work in any type of competition, I call some of the crazier plays in my playbook. It'll work. Okay, it's kind of cool. The game plays at a different speed where you got somebody else on the other end of them sticks.
Yep.
And the decisions that happen in franchise, the decisions that happen in MUT, the decisions that happen in 3v3, all of that is different. Because you have, human beings that are making adjustments, that are familiar with your playbook, with your plays. They've been on the game 24/7. They know that the patch just came out and what's hot and what's not. It's too much to just have your casual gamer testing out brand new skills, or different modes when they don't represent the masses. They don't represent the masses in any form or fashion. And it doesn't mean that they're still not gamers. It doesn't mean that their input isn't valuable. It just means that they don't represent a small percentage of the majority of people that are going to be playing this game at a particular level and style for each mode. Yeah, so you got to get it right. You got to get it right.
I'll add one last thing. Like, I think EA doesn't even know who they're catering this game for. Like, if you look on any type of social media, like, sim guys don't like this game. CFM guys don't like this game. MUT guys really don't like this game. Competitive players don't like this game. Like, I feel like they have no real direction right now on who they're trying to cater to. Look, if they were going to cater to one specific area and focus on that specific area, I'd be cool with it, because at least I know what direction you're going in. But it feels like you're trying to please all these different people, and when you try to please everybody, you please nobody. And you're seeing that play out this year.
I agree.
Well, and like I have my opinions on that. Like, they don't even play that differently. Like, what's the difference between sim mode and comp mode is you're gonna get a flag for holding every now and then in sim mode. That's the difference. And maybe your players are a little tired. Like, that's about it.
Yeah,
there's no real difference.
Yeah, there's really no major difference between sim and comp mode. Not notably anyway.
Like, I still need, like, I still, like, I really feel in sim mode you shouldn't have abilities. Like, you should play strictly off ratings. But again, like, that's just my take. Yeah, like Derrick Henry can't truck without bulldozer, or Julio Jones can't run a route because he doesn't have route tech. Like, that's silly. which made him unusable in competitive play.
Muted again. So
you can't be serious.
I'm serious, bro. I was muted again. Thanks, Mark.
How long have you been muted? That's the real question.
I was muted since Bgar started talking because I was coughing. But yeah, my mic is my mic.
Okay.
I keep muting
That's
myself.
not as bad.
Coughing.
That's not as bad.
So, but now let me start back to what I was saying. When you have like if the game is gonna be based on ratings, like I was saying, you gotta. I mean, if it's gonna be based on ratings, the abilities have to coincide with the ratings. And you can't. I get it. You want to have Lamar Jackson with conductor and all these different things. He can't have that. Like, it's just certain abilities that you don't get. Like 2K. If you got a certain build, there are certain things that player is just not going to be able to do because of the archetype that he is. And I feel like that's what Madden needs to start doing. Is that these are the players. They all come equipped with these things because they're this particular archetype. Some of them are better at it because of the ratings. You know what I'm saying? And I think they should go that route. Like if you got Kyler Murray, if you got Tyler Huntley, what's the guy coming out in the draft this year from Liberty, Malik Willis, that guy. If you have those quarterbacks, they should automatically come equipped with escape. That should just be it. Like, they come equipped with those things. If you have a guy that has a strong arm, if you have a 95 or above rating and throw power, you should have gunslinger. You should have it. You should just have it. If these guys are, if this is what their strong suits are, give them the ability and let them just have the ability to start with, because that's the archetype they have. It doesn't even have to be, oh, this is their superstar X factor. No, they can do these things because they can do these things in real life. So they already come equipped with these abilities. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you can have a point guard with a point guard that has 99 dunking and 99 everything in 2K, because it's not realistic. It's not possible for a point guard to do those things that a power forward can do or a center can do. So if you're gonna have, there are certain players that are dynamic players like Aaron Donald, what's his name, Bosa. You got dynamic players like those players that just do different things that make them unstoppable on the field. But if those players, they should have abilities. Like, they should have the abilities, and then they should have players that have the same similar ability, but they're not as good or rated as high, or their ability is not as good of quality,
like, like make it like tiers. Like, Jalen Ramsey would have like one step ahead, and it'd be like an elite one step ahead.
Yeah.
And then you'd have, like, let's say, like a lesser corner, like, I don't know, let's say Darius Slay for shits and giggles. Like, he's got like a shade below, like a one step ahead. Like, okay, but he'll get beat on X route.
You know what I mean? Make it like that to where it makes sense. Now you're saying, okay, I need to put this ability on this guy, that guy to play. And if I don't have these abilities, I'm cooked out there. Because it was sad this year, the amount of players that were begging for abilities. Like, it put a lot of franchise leagues in a tough predicament, because guys would come to leagues expecting.
It dissolved a lot of franchise leagues.
No, it did. I need gunslinger. I need this. We saw the drop off on players in our league, but it was just like guys that ordinarily would just tough it out was like, well, I can't play without this, and it's like, okay, and it's not their fault. It's as consumers, because that's what they've been conditioned to do, or conditioned to play with, because of the way the game is made, But I feel like this upcoming year, they should do a better job of addressing and making sure that they're, like Bgar said, tiers to the abilities, where every player should have if you have 99 or any 90 or above change of direction, he's a one step ahead corner. He automatically has it. If you have a corner that has 95 agility, or 90 plus agility, 90 plus jumping, then he's an acrobat. You know what I'm saying? If you have a player with 85 play recognition, or 85, more than 85 awareness, then he's a lurker. He can lurk, or you know what I mean, just something to where these players fall under these tiers, and this is why they have these abilities. And you can upgrade these abilities in franchise and make them a higher tier, and make that ability stronger as the ratings go up. But it just has to be something that makes sense. It shouldn't be, oh, I got a guy who's not really that good, but he does have acrobat, and if you throw in his area, he's just gonna make a play because that star is gonna light up and he's gonna do something.
Exactly.
Immaculate.
I have AJ Terrell like a 90 overall, but he has no ability. Therefore, he can't dive for picks. But then you'll see somebody like who has a 70 overall, but because he's a superstar, he gets acrobat and he can make more athletic plays than AJ Terrell.
Yeah.
Like,
it makes no sense.
That doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense at all. And that's all I'm saying is make the game make sense. If it don't say we're gonna implement these new features and the game still don't make sense. You're just making the game not make more sense. That's what you don't want to do. Let's keep the game making sense. Because it's always one guy in there who doesn't play football, never played football. He's like, you know what, guys? Let's put out this year. We should have an ability called. We should have a ability called the strobe light. The strobe light. And when he this player turns different colors like Mario, and he can pick off anything when he gets this, when the strobe light is activated. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm talking about. I promise you, there's a guy at EA right now suggesting that, and they're like, you know what?
He probably listened into this. He's like, you know what, Brian James, that's a great idea.
That's a great idea. Now, and
you're gonna play the special the special star music too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you get an interception, you turn the strobe light, and he's running down the field, and that music plays while you're running down the field. But
oh my god!
If we're doing that,
when he jumps over people, you hear the.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, we might as well do that if this is what the game's coming to. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's not even football anymore. But yeah, that's all I suggest is just simplifying the game. Like I said, we talked about Fortnite, simplifying Fortnite, and the community was real receptive to it. They took
it's so popular now, man.
They took
it got so popular again.
They took building out for a little while. You can build now in the competitive mode. But
yeah,
they took building out for a couple of days or a week or two, and just let the community get used to just playing the game as a shooter, and letting them run with the turbo button, implement a turbo button now and things like that. And the community loved it. They didn't cry, they didn't complain. You know, it was fun. They had fun with it. It made people who didn't ordinarily play Fortnite because of the building go mess with it. I was one of those people. I liked it.
Me too.
So
me too.
My thing is, sometimes in the case of sports games, less is better. I know a lot of people complain about MLB The Show. It didn't have that much they didn't implement that much into the game this year. It's kind of like the same as last year or whatever. But you got to keep in mind, for the Xbox Game Pass users, it was free. So we may complain, but we're not going to complain this and that
as much.
Yeah, and I see you talking about the 3-on-3 league incoming. Yes, we do have a 3-on-3 league coming real soon. Actually, real soon. So stay tuned for that, Mr. Dots. We've been joining a lot of different other leagues, kind of testing the market. You saw us play last night. It was interesting to see how people and players reacted to it and cried about us playing and things like that. But it's been fun just being, not having to be the responsible one in the league and playing in someone else's league, and kind of be able to complain like, yeah, your league sucks, bro. And it's like I can say that now because it's not my project to work on. I'm not responsible for anything. I can just sit back and complain like a regular civilian, and it's fun. I like it. I have fun doing it. But no, we've been just going out testing different things and market testing different things so we can implement it and bring it to Madden Underground, and so we have more activities to do during the off season and when the leagues end and things like that. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Once the season's over, we'll have a lot of activities leading up to Madden 23. So it may not be franchise because we don't want to start a franchise and then the beta drop and then nobody wants to play the franchise anymore because of the beta. So we'll have various activities for people to partake in, whether it be tournaments, 3-on-3 league with the Superstar KO, or whether it be MUT Squads. We got a MUT Squad tournament coming up right after the season. So if you guys are interested in getting into that MUT Squad tournament, The winners will get 3 copies of Madden for the first tournament. The second tournament they'll have a buy-in, and then we'll start having cash prizes and things like that. So make sure you keep that locked. We'll have the mud squads and the dudes that don't play much. We'll have the Superstar KO 3-on-3 for you guys, where you can. Some weeks it may be college teams, some weeks it may be NFL teams, and we just gonna mess with the game and test it out in different ways and see what you guys like and have fun with, and see if it's something we can implement for next year in Madden 23. That way, the guys that don't want to commit to just playing in the league, the long-term commitment, because they quit. It's this alternative for you guys too. So we'll see how that pans out. We'll definitely have a lot of updates next week, and that'll be the week of the draft. So on the draft stream, the 27th, our Man Underground draft stream, 2 weeks from now, we'll have a lot of the information because our leagues will be over and everybody will be anticipating what we'll be doing next, and we'll be dropping that information. Also, the guys that participated, we're gonna have a lottery, and then we're gonna have the people that didn't participate or finish out all their seasons, that signed up for the league next year. The lottery will be for the guys that were consistent and played all year long next year. And then those guys, it won't be 32 guys in the lottery. It may be 16, it may be 17. It depends on how many guys were consistent once we go through the roster and see. Those guys will be put into the lottery, and they'll determine their order in which they'll pick teams, and then the rest of you guys will pick from what's left over. And that's just our reward for the people that stuck it out this year and things like this. Because the game, like I said, we all had our issues and gripes and groans and complaints about the game. But I do definitely want to reward the people that actually stuck it out and didn't quit and didn't fold and didn't waver and played all from beginning to end. Want to definitely hook those people up with something, a little incentive for doing so. So we'll have that, and we'll have more details on that as we move forward and get closer to the release of Madden 23. But definitely on the week of the draft, we'll be talking about all of the stuff that we'll be doing soon. So I think that's it for the day, fellas. But anything you guys want to add in closing?
Man, I just want to wish everybody a happy Easter. I love sports. I know the NBA playoffs, they're finally here. They're going to get started. I know my Knicks aren't in it, but that's okay. We'll see y'all next year. But you got the NBA playoffs, and then, in 2 weeks we got the NFL draft. And I would be lying if I was going to be on here saying that I can't wait to see who the Jets pick up. I would be straight up lying, because I know there are 2 first-round picks, and I just want to see if they get it right, man. They can turn the corner. They can turn the corner. Just got to make sure they get the right draft picks, so I don't end up wearing a black Buffalo Bills hat like Snipes. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get pushed to the edge.
That's a Bills hat?
Yeah, it's a Bills hat.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Just like with MLB The Show.
I thought it was just. I thought it was just some random I don't know, like a cow or something.
You're too far from the screen, brother.
Make sure you guys hit that like, that follow button, and wherever you may be viewing from, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. But we definitely appreciate your viewership, and we'll see you guys next week. No draft next week, right? No draft next week.
Nope.
No draft next week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We'll see you guys next week, though, and we'll be back with some more information. So keep it live. Hit that follow button.